All right, let's kick off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of AI Wisdom Says. Today, we are honored to have Dr. Sean Sokhambar, who is the founder and CEO of Resilience. And he's here to cover the topic of AI and GRC and help us better understand how we can build more compliant, intelligent, and also resilient businesses. Sean, over to you. Maybe you can start with a quick introduction.
Excellent. So what I was saying, that actually I have a good background of working different big organizations like Microsoft, Deloitte, and different part of, like I say, world in Hong Kong and Australia for sure. 2021, we decided to come up with the idea of having a startup, just helping with cyber security, resilience, and helping organizations to be resilient. So what happened was, after 5 years now, we got both a platform and a good team of experts to help organization to, first of all, to understand their like I say, their cyber resilience, their operation, and also helping them to grow in the market. So what we have right now is state-of-the-art GRC platform, which we are using lots of AI to just help our the organizational clients. And at the same time, we are just from consultancy point of view, we are just helping our organization to improve their efficiency and resilience. Sam, over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. So I know you prepare some presentation. Just a sec. So you prepare some sort of presentation, but then before going to that one, can we maybe quickly cover what the GRC is and why businesses actually need that?
So, look, GRC is the concept, and when we talk about the GRC, basically we are talking about how decision making can be just basically be synchronized with the operation. If you look at from the different angles, GRC have different kind of basically benefits. One of the important things with the GRC, basically, it helps organization to understand the roles and responsibility, the policy, which comes from the G. And from our and compliance point of view, what we are going to do, trying to organization to understand what are the obstacles against achieving the goals. So, in one statement, I would say GRC is the orchestration of operation and also decision making, how things should work together, through roles and responsibility, through transparency, through operation, through management, and through accountability.
Awesome. So the key focus is more around the risk, right? Like risk to the business, and then how it can help to just help the businesses to better manage those risks. And those risks can be anything around from business operation and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, true. The thing is, so there are just three elements we are talking about. One of them is a G. G focuses on transparency, trust, accountability, roles and responsibility, policy, procedures, and helps organization to streamline all the activity. And what basically hinders organization to achieve those goals and those objectives is risks. So the whole idea is how we can just basically manage risks through proper orchestration to prevent things before happening, right?
Yeah.
This is the whole GRC concept.
Awesome. And then what are the key sectors that we see more adoption in terms of using GRC solution? Is it more regulated one, or can be applicable across different sectors?
Look, we shouldn't look at from two different angles. One of them is looking at the GRC as a concept, right? Yeah. If a company have policy and procedure, they're just following some GRC. They have some G in place, right? If the company just having proper a synchronization between the two or three elements within the organization, they have a GRC. But now what we have seen in especially the last 5 years, moving a bit much more mature organization to using tools, from migrating from Excel files, those like I said, like a manual stuff, to using tools for that. So based on the experience we have, the banking industry and also oil and gas industry, which are just having lots of regulation. So you are talking about lots of, like I say, government regulation, international regulation, which they have to adhere to. And if they don't comply with, then we will get big fine. There are a lot of examples I can provide you with, a lot of like a big fine. For instance, in Europe, if you are not complying with GDPR and you have a business there, then you are getting fined somewhere like 20 million, 30 million. Even a couple of years ago, British Airways, they got somewhere about $40 million because of not following GDPR. So getting back to your question, is all about just more mature industry like banking industry, like oil and gas, some manufacturing, and also IT. They're just moving toward to have better, like I said, GRC application in place to make that these three elements to work together like a simultaneously and also seamlessly.
Oh, awesome. So, and then the last question before going to the presentation. So, and now when it comes to the AI, how it actually just impact from both like solution perspective and also the risk?
Look, there are two things we need to have a look at it. First of all, AI-driven GRC. So GRC using AI to improve efficiency of the GRC. And the other one is basically having like a GRC within AI. There are two different aspects we should have a look at it. Us, we are looking for both sides. Yeah, of course. Especially in the last 3 years, especially us using a lot of AI, we have done a lot of automation. We have done using lots of, like I say, predictive analysis. So AI had a huge impact in GRC solution. Even now, we are talking about the legacy GRC and advanced GRC. This is now they're just trying to separate. Again, this is just because of like a evolution of the AI and how AI can help. There are many examples I can give you why we are using it and how we are using it, which I would prefer to go to the slide. But the thing is, having AI, to be honest, we see how cost of the ownership of the software reduces significantly. How adoption rates goes up. These are the very important factors which we see in the market, which the legacy GRC are struggling with. And the company like us, which we are actually more agile, we can just basically respond to the market and the requirement, which, as you exactly mentioned. But the other part, which is having like a regulated AI, there is another story which we can just discuss later.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's just go to the presentation. I think we can dig more in there.
No worries. Okay. Let me just share my screen.
Coming up. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So, as we start today, we are going to discuss about how AI and GRC work together from different angles, right? I don't know why. Okay. What is GRC? These three elements, as we discussed earlier, that's a very important concept. From governance point of view, governance provides direction, as I said, defined responsibility, accountability, and basically creating structure for decision making. Now, when we are making decision, what are the hinders? The risk and compliance are hinders. So in the R&C, what we are looking for, we are trying to streamline the whole risk management, the whole compliance process to make sure that whatever we make a decision to achieve in our organization, we'll achieve them with minimum kind of, like I say, hinders. In other words, the intersection of all would be integrity, transparency, and organizational resilience. Means that, for instance, there are a lot of examples, but when we can just, from using GRC, we can be more proactive. That's the whole idea of the GRC. Okay. In terms of like a GRC operation cycle, we can come up with like setting the direction, which comes through leaderships, through policies, through assigning roles, through saying what is the risk appetite, also understanding risk. So this risk will be related to basically direction, all the assets. And then to control this risk, to make sure that the risk are managed, we are using control, implementing control to make sure that the risk against policies, against achieving of organization goal are managed. And then what will happen after? We are going to assure and basically reporting. Means that, yeah, we have got the control in place, but making sure that the control in place are working or not means that the assurance, control assurance. And then would be some sort of review and adapt. Of course, during this cycle, we're going to just learn a lot. And based on that learning, we're going to adapt. And the thing is why GRC matters, right? And you know that because of the lots of regulatory penalties, lawsuits, and a lot of operational damage you can get out of it. And basically, sorry, you can go back. Yeah, I'm just trying to minimize it. I don't know why it doesn't work. Okay. And strength, and also we are going to just empower our resilience. Look, the thing is, nobody can say that we are not getting hit by like crops or adversaries or any kind of like risk. But the thing is, when we are facing with risk, when we are seeing some issues, how we can become more resilient, how we can overcome them. This is very important things now within organization. And also building a trust with the regulator, with the customer, with the investors. And when you have everything clear, the transparency is there, the accountability is there, then your client, your customer, even your stakeholder are going to have more trust on you. And also at the same time, enable safety, confidence, even within your organization. And also when you're going to market, you will have more confidence when you are going to move to another market. If you look at the GRC market, it's just staggering, just like just going. As you can see, the global market in the GRC value is more than 82 billion USD, and this just goes like on and on in terms of like a GRC platform. We see a lot of. I'll share this presentation with you, but the thing is, we see somewhere about between 15 to 17 increase in the market. And the tools now, they are getting very important. And they say they should by 2020 be somewhere about $9 billion. Just organization gonna pay for the tools, which is again shows how organization value the GRC and its importance. Okay, now the question is, if you are not going to have a GRC, what are the risks? What are the problem? If based on the stats we have from different organizations. And like a PwC, we provide some insight for you. The average annual compliance spend, if you are adjusting it, somewhere about 5.7 million. But if you are non-compliant, this goes like a triple in terms of a fine. Based on the audit and evidence efficiencies, only 29% of the firm normally have consistent compliance standard, and majority of them are having problem. In terms of breach, you will see again there are staggering numbers. We can just go and have a look. This is how some people feel like GRC is just about looking at just the finance or some of the regulation. No, even GRC help organization from cybersecurity in IT. And the thing is, majority of the risk within organization comes from third parties and from the human resources, from the external parties. And the GRC and the tools like this, which can govern and reduce that risk. Now, if we look at, because today's conversation, we are talking about how AI can accelerate GRC. There are a number of, segue how AI can help GRC. One of them is automation. With AI, we have it in our tool, we can detect anomalies, flag risk, all of them without human intervention. That's the key, guys. That's the key, how we can use AI just to be more proactive. And the whole idea of, for instance, risk management is just not being reactive, being proactive, acting before the risk going to happen. The speed of it, and shift compliance from annual audit to like a continuous assurance. This is important. because your organization going to be just like a audit ready. We call it like a compliance ready or audit ready. This is going to, again, this going to help another organization to, when it comes to, for instance, dealing with going to new markets. So they need to be compliant with other new regulation that AI can help a lot. In terms of insights, of course, there are a lot of, like I say, hidden patterns, and which the AI, we are using those patterns and just trying to predict risk before emerging. Efficiency, no doubt about it. As I discussed earlier, the cost of the ownership, the cost of the implementation, somewhere about 50 to 60, like a percent saving of those costs, which again increase the importance of using the GRC and also using AI in the GRC, and the scalability, which is no doubt about it. All of us can just be basically agree with that in terms of like having a lot of data points simultaneously, trying to just connect to different data sources in terms of one data sources. So for instance, if you have like a regulation of different 3, 4 or 5 countries, easily with AI, you can have such a basic power to cope with a lot of like different regulation. If we want to go through like some use cases in GRC, these are use cases actually we are using it right now in our platform. And if you have time, I will have a walkthrough on the platform to see how you can just how GRC works and how AI can help on that one. From governance point of view, we are using AI like a co-pilot drafting policies. So we don't need people to just go and just doing the policies for us. Using that AI, I'll show in the platform, using nice prompts, you can easily create different sort of policy. Let's say you want to just get your ISO 27000 for cybersecurity. Writing those policy always is it's like a burden. It's a nightmare for someone who is not familiar with. But with AI, you can easily have that done using lots of a very good best practices. Risk management, as we discussed before, from reactive risk management, we are moving to proactive risk management. It means that, so let's say from cybersecurity point of view, you will see when the data comes from your SIM solution, we can get the data within the GRC and come up with some of the triggers. And before those triggers happen, we can just give alarm to notification to the owner, to system owner, or to the stakeholder, tempting to the fraud and all money laundering. So if you see some triggers, again, you prevent that. You can just, again, using AI for those important activity, which normally, these are again, if you look at from now compliance perspective, how using AI can help to reduce your reduce your risk of being fined, since you are for instance, not picking up or not getting the fraud through money laundering. The other thing is from the compliance point of view, you can do automated gap analysis, like a policy gap analysis easily, instead of just having a couple of experts working on the document, and the risk of mistake, human error. But with having AI, then it's gonna be much easier. The other one with the contract review, the other things, for instance, obviously we have seen a lot. When you are going to get the service from different provider, they have a SLA. But the thing is, who is able to go and just see the SLA and the real outcome of that SLA? Normally, it's very difficult. Again, with AI, with some sort of I say, checks and balances, putting in different system, then you can easily check. For instance, a very good example of that would be if you have AI in place, which we have, for instance, in the compliance part, you say my internet should be like a 99.99. But how we can just check that one? It's very easy. You can just go to your monitoring system, look at your uptime, and you get uptime against that SLA, and you can see, there is a gap. Then you can just warn your provider, hey, this is the situation, and this is how you can solve it. And again, the example actually we are just dealing with with that anti-money laundering through AI. So even a number of examples I can just go on with using AI. And another example would be, for instance, in one of the clients, they were just going to implement a loan management system, LMS. And the thing is, then you need to upload another document. You need to provide another document. Using AI helps and helps our client to have a very accurate document uploaded, checking like a name against guaranteed and those sort of things. So with using this kind of like example and this kind of like AI feature, you'll have much better like a position from operation point of view. Okay, let's look at the benefits of the AI for a GRC. So one of them is the coverage. So normally when it comes to using like a normal GRC or legacy GRC, we cannot check all the data. Now using AI, agentic AI, you can just go to different data sources and get the like accuracy of that. So it's not going to be just a sample for specific kind of like a subject. The other one is accuracy, as is discussed, is all about just detecting risks if something is missing. There are a lot of like a benefit out of this. Also, cost efficiency, lowering manpower. You will see. You have heard the story having AI in place. They are just reducing the human resources. How it's going to help that sort of stuff. Again, this is similar to GRC. Decision support. That's another thing actually helps to come up with the proper decision making. And because, for instance, you have a dashboard in terms of risk, in terms of your compliance, and there are a number of, like I say, scenario you can go running different scenario and come up with the proper decision, right? And again, that's another beauty of AI in GRC. And also in terms of continuous, like say, assurance. So this is another benefit of using AI, having those AI agent in place, looking at the different compliance point of view, looking at the different data pointers, looking at the various like its regulation, and making sure that all of them are getting covered. Why? Now, second part that actually we are going to talk about is now when we are moving. So the first part, as we discussed, there was just conversation around how GRC use AI. Now, to use a proper AI, we need GRC. That's another part. We need to make sure, because the AI brings, why we need the GRC again. Let me just explain this, guys. So when AI comes, G helps to actually define roles and responsibility, define structure, define ethic, define all those important parts, which is important for the organization. So that's the government part. And the other part is basically the risk of the AI. Yeah, we are using AI, but it brings, every disruptive technology brings its own risk. So how we can manage, and also making them regulated, as you can see here, and all together to have a proper AI within organization, within society, we need to have a GRC. This is actually this point, like a flip coin upside of that part, which how we are going to use GRC to regulate AI. In terms of governance, establish an AI council, set acceptable use policy. So you cannot just use AI in different various kind of like intention. So, and the coin, like if you could look at, for instance, the dark web, now the crops, they are using a lot of AIs to just do all this, like I say, attack and hack, all those are using a lot of AIs. In terms of risk, so it can maintain AI-specific risk registers, performing AI impact assessment. In terms of compliance, maintaining the model card, ensuring audit trails. Again, this is these are the subject we need to be very careful how we can just going to cover. How are we going to just basically control responsible AI? So through the policies, acceptable use, risk appetite for AI. How are we going to just document that? How are we going to monitor that? This is very to like any holification, any error rating, and using that sort of, like I say, tools and oversighting. Having that kind of proper playbooks, right? These are important concepts we need to have a look at it. And also in terms of life cycle, in terms of like control the different risks, some of the retirement criteria, and also trying to look at how things work together. So as we discussed, I'm a bit conscious of the time. As we discussed, there are two-way relationships. First of all, AI enhanced the GRC through automation, predictive analysis, real-time monitoring, that sort of. And also GRC regulates AI to accountability, transparency, and also having different output. Altogether, basically what happens altogether, we would have like a more trusted AI, more resilient organization, and we have like a proper competitive advantage. Right. Sam, I'll finish with this, but if I'm a bit conscious of time. If we have time, then I'm happy to just go to the platform. Then we'll have more idea.
Yeah.
So do we have time? Can you just check?
You still have some more time. I think it can enable audience to better understand what we mean.
Okay.
So if we demo what you have, like.
Let me just go to another presentation. So, as we discussed earlier, we have a state-of-art GRC platform, which I'm trying to bring that. Okay.
So are we going to?
Let's go to the platform. Yeah, it's better to go to the platform.
I think it's better and easier.
Yeah, okay. Let me just go to platform. It's better. Just give me a sec. Do you have my page?
Yes.
So, all right. As you can see, this is a GRC. This is our platform called GRC. And as we discussed earlier, there are a lot of details in it. I don't want to go through. As you can see in the dashboard, we are talking about some of the risk heat map, and we have a framework, basically module. There's a governance module. Remember, we're discussing about like understanding stakeholder, understanding methodology, understanding, for instance, organizational structure. You can have it in place in terms of the roles and responsibility. This is basically the fundamental of a proper governance. And then looking at the different team, as we discussed earlier, GRC should help to have a proper decision making, from SWOT analysis to risk to strategy to goals. All of them can be just come up with the objective and the KPIs.
So these are all the like part of the governance. You mean like all these methodologies?
Yes.
So it's more around like the company structure plus the kind of like some methodologies that they use to just track their projects, programs, and goals, right?
For instance, for risk methodology for risk management, for the incident management. These are the, for instance, methodology. What technology you are using, right? So you can capture. That's going to be central repository of all this important information.
Okay.
Right. So what technology they are using in that like organization? This is important, right? So to understand what asset do you have, right? So these are the assets.
And then who should know these? Is it like more like for the CXO reporting, or is it for like even like the regulatory need those information as well?
That's a good question. So basically, it depends on the personas, right? So different persona have different requirements for this using this platform. Yeah. For CEO, definitely they would love to see this kind of information. But let's say for like I say. For regulatory, they are just regulation. We go for the old framework. As you can see, for instance, you can have all the regulation here in like a framework module, right? And this is going to help to have all the control in place, right?
Yeah.
And let's say, for instance, you are just going to assess yourself against some of the AI assessment model, right? You can easily have that on here, and just you can do the proper assessment.
So how's the user journey? Like, let's say if I want to do an assessment for ISO 27001 as an example.
Good, yeah.
So how the user should go through that process?
The thing is, first of all, the user should activate the one of the standard, let's say one of the AI assessment standard.
Mm-hmm.
The second part, user, they should have all the user and member should be defined here in the structure, because you want to assign to tasks to the people, right?
Okay.
When you're quite
so
sure
these are
that
like
you
the
have
people within the organization, right?
Exactly.
Or is it,
yeah.
okay.
But sometimes you can have external, like I say, consultant. Okay.
Yeah. So,
you can
so these are like the
have
people
things.
you need input from them, right? To
Exactly.
just run that assessment.
Even external, yeah. So even external, even external or internal, doesn't matter, right? The different role. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you basically define the team for that assessment, then what happens? We are using our assessment module. Let's say, these are the some of assessment we have done. Okay.
Okay.
And let's say, for instance,
so
these are
like,
the let me just
before going to
explain
the
this.
assessment, what is the process?
Yeah.
Like, is it like when I select the framework, is it like a number of questions that I need to go through, and then
That's what I want to say.
Okay.
When you build up your team, right?
Yeah.
And then now you selected your standards. This is CIS. What happens? See, here is the initiation. You go and add members here, right?
Okay.
Then you add your members. Say, I'm going to add the team or member. When you add team member, then you go through assigning. See, for instance, here is the assignment. You do the assignment to those team. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you assign to them, then you can start to do the assessment. Here is you can see the status of each of them. Here is basically the assessment part. Now we are using Kanban board. And let's say, for instance, this task assigned to me in a Kanban board. Okay.
Okay.
And
so from the assessment, there will be like a task defined for each individual or team members, right? And then it goes as
Exactly. That's why in the assignment part, that's a good point, actually. Let me just, in the assignment part, what we do, we assign this task to different people. See?
Yeah.
Again, we are using AI for this one as well. Sometimes it's if organization. So even for that task assignment, we do the kind of like using AI for this. And during the assessment, again, we are using AI to create these questions. So to get to this point, these are the questions you're asking. These are the answers they're getting provided for us, right? And here again, we are using some AI assistant. If, for instance, I don't know what does it mean, then clicking on this one, going to provide some information. So probably I'm not the right, actually, I'm not. And this is, the good thing is, if you're like having this task, system has a lot of capability. I don't want to go through the whole capability, but we can just basically sync to Jira. So you can push it to the Jira. People can provide this information to Jira. Just get back to us. These are again. But what?
So there's an integration with the Jira. So all these tasks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you call it there, you can have a lot of integration here.
Okay.
A lot of integration, automation, a lot of automation here. You can define list of automations, for instance, here, right? Let me go back to our conversation. Yeah. So let's say you are doing the assessment. So what happens? You have different roles, right? So for instance, myself, I'm just a member providing, like I say, insight. And then what happens comes to you as a person who approved. Then based on your approval, then comes here. So what happens? The whole process from assigning the task to people to trying to answer the question, provide their insight. And here again, they can use AI. They can attach document. They can do many activities here. And then what happens at the end, when you have all of them got approved here, you can have basically the report like this.
Okay. So this is after like the assessment is done, all the questions are answered, and then based on that answer. So what are is there like any specific methodology that you use for risk assessment or like even like how many of those you got and how
this is not a risk assessment. This is basically is assessment of yourself against that specific standard. Again, but that's a good question. But during the assessment, you may see a risk. You registered a risk here.
Yeah. Okay.
So, for instance, I'm assessing something, and during the assessment, say, for instance, they say you should have a firewall. Let's say, okay, you should have this device. You should have an antivirus. And for this, you don't have antivirus. I create the risk. Add the risk. It goes to the risk register, right? You need to add this. I'll show you. Whatever we put here would be part of the risk register.
Okay, but then it's not automatic. Like, let's say if I'm done with the assessment, and then that assessment should like identify any risk and then push it to the risk register.
Yes, yeah. So this is manual, but yeah, we can do that automatic. That we can just using the AI. AI assessment does that part, Sam.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So some organizations they are not that they don't have that kind of maturity, so we just ask them to do like manually. But now we are just having this feature using AI to do the maturity assessment.
Right.
Right. That in that like example which you mentioned, all this. So what happens when you are creating risks? It goes and sits in risk repository here, risk universe. As you can see, we have all the risk here. It comes from different sources. It comes from compliance. This come from improvement. Can come from assessment. Let's see what are the resources. Do we have any from assessment? Maturity. But one came from maturity. See, these are the risks. Okay.
All right. So in terms of like the type of assessment, we have what I can see, maturity. We have like compliance, audit. We have like all these different types of assessment.
Look, but the reason we just made it, just put it in a different section. Sometimes organizations they are just looking to the assessment against different standards. They don't have any other intention, so they use this module, right? But some organizations, and the reason is they just want to. That's another thing actually. That the next part is when you assess yourself against a certain standard. You want to start your journey to just make the improvement, right? This is how basically the second part starts. Again, we are using other AI. We know we found our gap here through the assessment. Now we are using AI here to provide with the improvement plan. See, if I click this one, you will see again. These are the problem for that specific problem.
Yeah,
so these are the problem we had. Now this is again you are using AI. This is a recommended improvement through AI.
Yes,
exactly. So to just overcome with that, basically again similar story, Sam. For the improvement, we can use our smart improvement plan again, just like assigning tasks. So for instance, you say this type of task should go to this type of people. You can use automation for that one. So you don't need to just, even task assignments, even all this activities here, easily can be done through like automation. How? Let me just show you here. We have a very state-of-the-art workflow management system.
Okay. So that you can define the workflow for that?
Exactly. Okay. So for instance, this is one of the examples. For all risks, there's a workflow. See, you can easily define workflow management and see how we have different AI, like an AI agent here for risk management, right? Okay. And for all of them, you can create workflows. You can have workflows. You can create automation and make them much, much easier. So let me show you in the risk management. So some of the agent you can see here. I just want to show you how does it work here. So for instance, in the risk management, risk analysis. So I'm quite sure everyone is quite familiar with the risk management steps: risk register, risk analysis, treatment, and monitoring. Right? When I'm going to do the proper analysis, the risk management.
Okay, so what I see, like when you say risk register, so whatever risk that is identified will be pushed to the risk register, and then the next step is to analyze it, and then identify if there is any treatment or improvement is needed, and then monitor that. Yeah, that's the kind of like a cycle. Yeah,
exactly. That's That's like a normal process to manage risk life cycle, right? Okay? Yeah. And the risk analysis, again, we are using AI here. I don't know what to put here, because of data I've got here. I can use AI like our AI agency. It comes in for this kind threat could be this, vulnerability could be this, likelihood to be again. Provide you with lots of like information. You can accept all, you can just reject all. That doesn't matter, right? So this is again using that kind of like a workflow management automation to make it the whole process streamline. Okay,
got it. And then so these are more like a GRC steps. But then if I have like an AI solution, then there is more like a kind of framework that needs to be added here to just run that assessment, right?
Exactly. Okay. So for instance, what happens, you add your framework here, See, you got your own framework. So you let's say you bought this this software in a SaaS or
Mhm.
PaaS or whatever, then you can add that specific AI framework here, and you can add it here, and you can just follow through the assessment. Simple.
Okay.
So
And
that's
then
why we are just.
quick one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there like any of the framework static, or is there like the option to just customize the framework and then run that assessment
Oh,
against
easily,
it?
easily
Yeah,
you can
because,
easily. If you want to customize it, you can just customize frameworks here.
okay. Because yeah, what I see that a lot of businesses, they usually like come up with a lot of frameworks, which is actually a combination of different frameworks. I mean, like
Yeah,
it takes some of the question from like, let's say ISO 27001 and it's a
correct.
number of those from NIST, and then create a, like a very, I would say, tailored framework based on their businesses. And then they usually need
Yeah,
such a flexibility, right?
that's a very good example. Let me show you this. Even you don't need to have access to that. Go here, here, and then you want to add the custom framework, right? Your example
Yeah.
would be, let's say, custom 1, 2, 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be used for the internal and external. Who's the manager of that? And either you want to have your own framework, or you want to have combined different merge different framework.
Okay.
So you can say, I want to merge PCI DSS and let's say CIS, because you want to get customized, right?
Yeah.
Next, then it shows all the control here.
Okay.
From different, and then you can choose them. Okay.
Right.
You can choose all of them. You I choose this one, I choose this one, and then see, this is the framework you are just creating now.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Yeah.
So either you want to change. Yeah.
Is there like any sort of import option as well? Like, let's say if I have like my question in the spreadsheet, what should I do?
Yeah, see it. Exactly. See it. Again. Simple. Let me just submit this. Up in here. Let me go back. This is going to be something that you have. If you have your own Excel file, it's easier.
All right. Okay.
Your own framework, you upload the Excel file here. Sorry, here.
Yeah.
And then you follow through.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
It's like important Excel. I'm quite sure you've used those kind of like a software. For instance, you have like an Excel of 10 field, and easily can map it to different to our like a database map, and you can just the system can digest whole data from. And also the other thing is we have like AI mapping here, right? Which means that you can map different framework to each other. Let's say in some framework you already have done some assessment, and you want to go to next framework, and there is some sort of like a commonality between them, right? You can using our AI map to just have that commonality. And the beauty of this platform is you can have all those AI features with the prompts here, Sam.
Okay.
So you can create your own prompts, right? As a compliance, how you can create a prompt as like and these are a lot of details that we cannot go through, to be honest.
But then what
is a lot of detail.
What that prompt is going to do. So let's say as a risk manager, I create a prompt where that prompt is going to be used. Yeah.
So that prompt, remember I was showing you the workflow? That prompt you can use in the workflow.
Got it. So it's just more like a kind of prompt
exactly.
library.
The prompt, exactly. That's the prompt library. So you can create a prompt here. And these are all the prompt library you have. See, one of them, so it's all how we can, and you can call this prompt here in the workflow. Let's say you want to create a new workflow.
Okay.
Let's say 1, 2, 3 test. And I don't know, I accepted someone. You can just add different like so hooks here, prompt here, easily. You can just have them all. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then is there like any place that I can generate the output, like a report out of those assessments? Or
is it
just
absolutely.
dashboarding?
So basically, no. So we have different kind of reporting kind of widget. Even you have your own. You can create your own report. You can. This is a flexibility of our platform again. So you have your own. You can create your own like a say reports kind of like a standard, a report, PDF report, and you can call it within the platform, just like this. So for instance, compliance report, I go, for instance, this one, download the PDF. We want to review that. Select, for instance, this one and this one.
So based on the finding of the assessment, it
exactly. Okay. You can easily see this is a report. This is a report of defined here in the admin panel. Then you can easily have that report here. See, step by step, all the detail. So you can easily would be like as we discussed in the presentation, it would be like some sort of like a continuous kind of reporting, continuous improvement. Your audit report, your maturity report, all of them can be created here easily. So you can create here and can be used here. And of course, we have all dashboard as well. The dashboard are just like flexible. Even based on the different dashboard, they can provide different sort of finding. Like say finding exactly.
Okay. Got it.
We didn't have. I mean, I'm a bit conscious of the time, Sam, but we didn't have the time to go through. For instance, our risk management is one of the best, to be honest. And
no, in terms of like the flexibility.
Yeah, exactly. We have again, we are using our compliance center. Again, we have both sides. How you use like a compliance and how you make it smart in terms of using compliance, like I say, using AI. Same kind of story for audit. So if you look at all the modules, we have governance, we have risk management, we have compliance, we have audit, and also we have assessment. And the other thing about the platform, whatever happens in the platform creates tasks, right? Yes. So you have like a central task repository with different type of this task. One of them is just basically, let's say here, right? Let's say, for instance, these are the tasks. And if you look at the top, you can even have different type of tasks. You say, okay, show me only task comes from issues or tasks from risks.
Mm-hmm.
These are the tasks from risks.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you are part of the approval team, then you will see your approval here. And if you want to even import tasks or let's say export tasks to some other, like you say, import tasks from your Jira here or vice versa. Despite we have the Jira integration here in our integration, as you can see that workflow. Or again, that will be another conversation we can have later on.
Yeah, because what I can see, like in summary, I can say it provide that level of transparency that is needed to just have, because when it comes to the compliance risk, one key aspect is to just enable that transparency, like in terms of like how we govern, how we remediate. And I think the platform can enable that aspect because it actually just provides all those governance structure, the team structure within the business. And also when it comes to some of those key frameworks that like businesses are forced to just show their compliance, then it provides all those assessment results. And then if there's any risk, how it can be remediated. And also because anyway, like when you are doing such a things, there is some level of integration is needed with the task management system, like Jira and so on and so forth. And then that also enables proper, I would say, visibility and also follow-up.
That's a good example. Actually, I was just trying to basically echo whatever you mentioned.
Okay.
So this is the basically part. You have it like a very transparent level of the strategy, the risk, the asset. You have all those depths of information in different type of, like I say. So for instance, you said this is the, for instance, strategic task is like this is a strategic, say one of the risks, and what are the risks or how the risks constitute, and what are the assets related to it. And this kind of like a proper kind of like insight, as you exactly mentioned, can help organization, and also we can create lots of vessels, right? And notifications, right? So for instance, in terms of notification, we can go myriad notification in terms of reminder, in terms of like basically triggering a task, or even triggering a risk. That sort of stuff gives you that kind of visibility to the senior manager in terms of, like I say, the high risk, for instance, the maturity level, and they can go to go more detail The tasks that are just trying to make that sort of stuff, again, goes one by one. The level of the couple of things actually we are just going to improve the platform. One of them we are just focusing right now is just providing more like a BI and dashboard, which somehow resonate with what you mentioned in terms of like creating more insight to senior manager.
Yeah, awesome. I think it was an interesting platform and also a very good demo. So we have like another 2-3 minutes. I'm not sure anyone from the audience, if there is any question, you can just put it in the chat. But then, Sean, do you have like any, I would say, last comment, insight, anything related to the GRC? What do you think of future of GRC and AI? Just feel free to,
Look, I think they're going to go hand to hand, especially in the next 3 years. We see, first of all, we're just tracking the demand in the market. And the demand is just going beyond our thoughts and imagination. One of them is organization getting more mature in terms of how they can they want AI to help them, but at the same time they don't know how they can reach out to that. Right, that's the gap. We need to fill it out. So, for instance, they're just looking for the high tech kind of like automation, or high tech kind of like I don't know, regulation or regulation monitoring, but they don't have proper, how can I say that, a proper ground for that, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, based on for instance, one of the engagement we have with Saudi, the maturity of organization gets better and better. Mm-hmm. And what we can see in the next 6 or 1 year, there will be high demand, especially in last year, we have got many. Even last year, this year we have a booth in JISEC, and the number of the people approached us for this solution, it wasn't comparable with the last 2 years, to be honest. Okay. And people understand its importance, and also at the same time, people are getting much more educated in terms of how AI can help GRC. And look, there are a number of segues for that, Sam. But for instance, one of the things we are just now working on having some byproducts. The product is a bit just complex right now. It may look a bit complex, but something like a third-party risk management, something like a compliance monitoring, that sort of like product, which is a bit simpler, but using same kind of muscle. I think that would be the market especially for SMEs next year, which we are planning for.
Yeah, I think. When it comes to the GRC, there are like a lot of different component and modules that, and then a lot of businesses, they need like a single pane of glass for all these different components. And like kind of like the platform, like the GRC that includes around all these things, all those components like governance, risk, compliance, audit, all those things that actually just make I would say, very central place for all those things. I think that's the kind of like the need of businesses. So I see like this pattern even like across other domain as well, that usually they need some level of I would say a central place, and also at the same time a level of transparency across. And then I think things like a solution like the GRC can just intersect all those things together and then enable that single pane of glass that businesses they need for when it comes to the risk, governance, compliance, and all those things.
That's a very good point, Sam. And the thing is, we see GRC as a heart of the organization right now. This is something we can envisage that. So the good thing about the GRC can be in the middle of the old activity, and what we are planning to do in the next year, having all majority of system connected, the data to the GRC connected, and give them the meaning, right? So for instance, from SAP, you will have a lot of information about the people, right? How that information should be translated and should be interpreted is important. This is GRC from risk point of view, from compliance point of view, or from the ESG point of view. You're talking about carbon emission, that sort of stuff. The data is there. How that should be interpreted from risk point of view, from compliance point of view, again, that's the GRC. So the thing is that it's going to be a big shift in the market for GRC solution. And that's why, for instance, the big end of the town company like Archer, the big ones, right? they are struggling how they can use the AI. So they have, because they have a huge implementation cost, cost ownership, that sort of stuff, and the integration from clients. The demand for the integration just raises like it honestly daily, and they want that. So we are dealing with massive data in the organization, but they don't have a meaning. That's the problem. So
Yeah.
we need to have proper tools to make a decision in the right time. That's how it works.
Okay. And then one last question. So what is like the pricing model that you have for the GRC? Is it
Oh yeah, that's a good
subscription
question. So
based?
basically, yeah. So it's kind of we have both SaaS and PaaS, and also on-prem solutions. So we go from standard, which kind of we have like a minimum kind of like features available. Then we go for the professional with more feature, and also we go for the enterprise level, which we have like a full version of all those our GRC say modules, and we have like a flexibility of the pricing as well.
Okay. Awesome.